comes out from that is understanding what is meant for you, what used to be meant for you, and what's meant for you now. So Venus and Taurus is going to be a very integral transit as far as how you're going to be approaching the rest of this year. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken off the top of my head, the next Mercury retrograde that we end up having is going to be in Taurus. So this Venus and Taurus, in my personal opinion, is going to be kind of coloring the energies that are going to be coming in for that upcoming shift that happens. So when Mercury goes into Taurus, and all the Mercury retrogrades that we've been having this year are all in earth signs, right? And the reason why is because it's trying to restructure the way that you handle the stability within your life. And that creates something that is so pivotal and so critical as we get to really start to maneuver the real value that we have for things, right? And what things are you going to be willing to stick up for? What things do you really want to actually like be a part of? Venus in Aries right now, that is happening, is supposed to really make you see how far you can take the things that you like, how far you can take the talents that you have, right? And as you start to go about these talents, as you start to develop this way in your life, how are you going to keep it exactly the way that you envision it, but only to a certain extent? It's more so like, what seeds are you going to be planting? So by the time it is Mercury retrograde time, by the time it is all of those different things that are happening, how are you moving this forward? Oh, I didn't know it was actually going. Bet my Wi-Fi was tweaking. My bad. Um, regardless, right? Let's get a little bit deeper into the rest of this upcoming transit, right? So over here, I have all of the dates and the time frames, and I just thought it'd be kind of easier to go through this. This isn't supposed to be a super long live stream. My Venus and Taurus, the new moons and full moons, I'm going to have a lot of information for. I'm going to be explaining more about Venus and Taurus in my short form content, but I at least wanted to introduce this to y'all because this is a shift that's going to be happening next week. And I want to explain what Venus is going to be doing, affecting our hearts and our livelihoods as far as money is concerned, as far as business and pleasure are also concerned in that process. I'm working on a lot of things behind the scenes right now to make sure and ensure that my astrology work moving forward in Aries season is as streamlined and elite as possible. I've been making the proper adjustments. So this one is like a in-between time frame. Pisces season is a important season on my end as far as like, you know, reestablishing that. And I do think I do have the go ahead in the sense to make sure that the astrology that I deliver to y'all is going to be top notch and top tier. So this is we are on our way up. So I appreciate you all for subscribing. Please do that now. I'm going to be doing a lot of new things, fun things, and offering some new great just tidbits of information and lessons and everything else like that. So I'm really excited to be doing that. But as of right now, let's just break down what's coming up with this Venus and Taurus, right? So as we've been going in, we've been doing this during March. It's been Venus and Aries. The last major transit that happens as Venus is in Aries is going to be Venus making a sextile to Mars on March 11th, right? So in 2 days from now, Venus is going to be sextiling Mars. And Venus in Aries sextile Mars in Gemini is going to really bring a state of how am I really communicating the things that I enjoy, right? Is one thing to know that you like what you like, but do the people around you know what you like? If you walk around like the area that you are, if you walk around in the local places, do people know what you do? Do people know like, hey, that's something, or that person that does this thing? Hey, like, does your name run in circles? Does your name run around when they're like, hey, like, I really love these people who are running this bakery, and they're like, oh, you know that bakery too? Like, is a word of mouth really flowing? And Venus and Aries can making a sextile to Mars is like, the word of mouth that happens during this time frame can really bridge in and bring you into like a lot of great success, can bring you into a lot of good fortune as well. So the concept behind this and the reason why this is so critical is because you get to really make the speed of how this happens, right? And I highly recommend that for people that do know that thing. This is a great opportunity time to use the last of that Venus and Aries energy to choose that something, right? I'm going astrology full time, choosing the something. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like, with that, what do you have to do? You have to do these different things. You have to move about everything differently going forward. You get what I'm saying? And I know this is going to be popping up in a lot of other people's lives where it's like, man, like I know I'm right on the edge of greatness, but it's like, what is the next step? And the next step involves really getting the proper communication to people and communicating the thing that you're actually trying to do and trying to be. Because the more that you communicate that you are that thing, the more that you become that thing. So if you're like, yo, this is me, I'm this is what I'm doing, it's going to be way easier for you to tap into that energy. Next thing to talk about, right? As soon as Venus does enter into Taurus, let me talk a little bit more about Venus and Taurus just as a sign, right? So Venus and Taurus is a very sensual sign as far as they are very attached to the five senses. The way that they love, the way that they interpret things is very attached to the heart. And with that being said, Venus is going to be making a square to Pluto as this is happening. So Pluto is at the end of Capricorn. Actually, I take that back. That's the Venus in the Venus is going to be in Aries where it makes a square to Pluto at the end of Capricorn, right? And this right there, this March 16th time, right before Venus enters Taurus, is going to be a very big, like, right? Like, oh shoot, like this is the real time to make, it's like a make or break type of moment, right? It's like, okay, like, are you going to jump on to this ship to outer space, or are you going to just be like, nah, I'm good? You know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, like this could be an adventure of a lifetime. Or are you going to be like, no? Or are you going to be like, okay, where are we going? You know what I'm saying? So the idea of that, right, is how are you making that motion forward? And as you see that thing happen, you're going to almost immediately be hit with this feeling of like, oh, but I need to slow this down, right? Because now you're entering into a new stage. Actually, as a matter of fact, Venus and Taurus a lot of times is like the new Earth. Venus, it loves being in Taurus. And Venus rules Taurus. So Venus and Taurus is like the stereotypical like lover archetype as far as a lot of the movies are concerned. A good example of a Venus and Taurus kind of relationship is if you've watched Marvel, because most people have watched a Marvel movie at this point. Wanda and Vision, they have like a very Venus and Taurus type of relation, right? And or like there's just like that stereotypical couple that's just very like, oh, let's take care, you know, here's this wine and cheese. Like that's kind of like vibe that's coming in, the romance movie vibes, right? And with that being said, Venus and Taurus understands that things takes time and love is patient, love is kind. So Venus and Taurus moves similarly to like nature. They are very natural people. They only like things that end up really happening as they go along. Anything that seems forced, they're not going to appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Anything that feels forced or oh, we got to do it like this, they're not going to necessarily like as much. And that has a lot to do with their idea that slow and steady wins the race, not in just life, not just in business, not just in money, but also in love. Because that patience is what's really necessary in order for things to truly grow into what they are supposed to be. Right? Hi, Evelyn. How you doing? But the idea though, right, is getting into the rest of this. And mind you, this is going to be a pretty short live stream in comparison. I'm just going to do this. I have a lot of things that I'm working on right now, and I want to make sure that I deliver it to y'all in the best possible way. So I just said that I would make sure that I did this live stream just to keep things going, keep the information, make sure the people and the subscribers here are also being fed with that good information as I get ready to blow your minds out of it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited. But Venus making that square over to Pluto, boom, an eruption of like, yo, I gotta go do this. And then you're like, you decided and now you're starting again. You just planted the seed. And Venus and Taurus on that next bit, right? You see Venus making a sextile to Saturn. which is like, this is the opportunity to like slow your roll, choose what you're doing, and then just keep the pace going. Just keep it moving, get it started, get it going. And that's what's really important about that. Now, Venus is going to be conjunct the North Node on the first day of Aries season. And that really shows to me, because the North Node is about to change signs too, which we're going to be getting into in another video and a lot in my short form. So make sure that you watch out for that and all the stuff that I post on like IG. Because I want to be breaking that down just day by day, because I like to really just do it as real time as possible. But the idea is this, in the Venus and the conjunction to the North Node, that's making sure that you show up for what it is that you enjoy. Like, this year is huge. Like the first day of Aries season, like the Venus is making that conjunction to the North Node, and the North Node is about to go into Aries. So this is almost like the last it reminds me almost of like a Jack and the Beanstalk type of thing, where it's like you put that one thought, that one dream into that soil, and now it's already sprouted. But you have to take your time getting up there. You're not supposed to rush it afterward, because destiny is going to be it's going to be opening up the heart. Destiny is going to help open up the heart in this process, and that's what's going to be very critical and what's most exciting, I would even say. After we have Venus making a square to Lilith. So think about it. Venus in Taurus, as soon as it goes into Taurus, is basically going off of Pluto, Saturn, the North Node, Lilith, and Uranus, right? If you look at the whole month, right? Jupiter, Chiron, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, the North Node, Lilith, Uranus is all hitting things that are outer planet, that are very important asteroid, or your literal destiny point. There's a lot of changes to how people are feeling that are coming in. And it's like, it's people radically accepting themselves for who they are going to be able to maneuver these things so much better, because there are going to be situations that may pop up and it's like, hey, you know that you don't like this, and this might be an uncomfortable thing, but are you just going to do it so you show face? Hey, you know you don't have the energy to get up and go do that, but are you going to do it because someone else said that, oh, that would be really cool if you did? This is like, are you going to choose you? Are you going to choose the people that you love? Or are you going to choose everything in the status quo and what you are supposed to do in somebody else's mind that doesn't consider you or who you are in that process? That's what a lot of this Venus and Taurus is about, is like, how are you choosing you in the process and making sure that you're in your most stable foundation that you can make for yourself, right? Next thing to talk about, we have Venus making its, Venus is going to go conjunct Uranus on March 30th. And Venus making that conjunction to Uranus, this is like, okay, yo. Uranus in Taurus has been changing. That's the reason Uranus in Taurus is why we have the recession. But this is also why people are getting rich off of ChatGPT. This is also why people are getting rich off of like different AI and technologies and stuff like that. And other people are struggling to like find a job. There's a lot of difference. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of flips in the technology and how the technology is going as well. And all of these things are making like a very big difference. And this is what this Uranus transit is all about in that regard. So like I said, all of Venus and Taurus, when it first enters in, is getting bombarded with all of these larger energies. And we're going to have to like learn how to truly maneuver them in the process. And so the next big major thing that happens as far as just like Venus and Taurus is concerned, is going to be Venus making that sextile to Neptune. And Venus making a sextile to Neptune, once more, another outer planet. Venus sextile Neptune, it is showing and being like, okay, you have felt through the struggles, you have felt through the fears, you have felt through some healing, you have seen what your destiny is, you've seen what your purpose is, you've seen how it goes, you've seen the beanstalk go to the sky. So it's like, all right, now that you've reached the top of the beanstalk, what if you have another seed? Are you going to plant that seed on the beanstalk and see how high it can actually go? Or are you going to be like, well, this is enough? Because if you think you're like, that's enough, that's all it's going to kind of be. You get what I'm saying? Venus and Taurus is all about abundance, but it's about taking its time. And it's taking its time running through and running us up on all of these outer energies, these different asteroids, these different the North Node, everything else like that. It is making a lot of difference. It's making a lot of difference. So, that this is the one thing, and let's bring this back again to, I would say, what the original name of this actual broadcast is, right? How are you embracing a pleasure-fueled and sensual life? By embracing the outside energies and seeing where some things are kind of like some of your inner mechanisms know and have a deeper wisdom than your ego does. And when you start to tap too much into that in comparison to allowing the abundance and the beauty to be around you, you're going to start to see the effects of that very quickly. And they're not going to necessarily be to like the snuff or the ability or what you actually want them to be. So that's just something to keep in mind for this overall Venus and Taurus. I know this live stream isn't the fancy everything else is going on type thing, but I really wanted to like Pisces season. I was like, wipe it all away. I was like, wipe it all away. That template ain't what it is anymore. And I'm just letting it be as it is, but I'm still here to give the information and get that out to y'all. I've definitely been a little bit more on my trying to rest and recoup stage because I definitely feel this Pisces season and a lot of that theme, but always I'm very excited for this. I felt that Saturn and Pisces shift and it's like, yo, bro, like just take that second, but you gonna start going. And I'm like, okay. So I wanted to inform y'all as that is and how that is. Then right afterward, Venus goes into Gemini, but the last bit, I believe Venus is making its final trine to Pluto and Capricorn on the 11th. And then that's going to be transitioning to Venus and Gemini. So then it's going to be like the last bit, the feelings and all the feelings that you muster up in Taurus season are going to expand to the point where you can literally transform your entire life. And then Venus and Gemini is offering you the situation to be able to communicate that, meet with people, socialize with people on it, and really connect directly to them in that process. This Venus and Taurus is going to be lit. I'm really excited for it, to be honest, for the most part. But there's a lot of heavier energies that's going on. But make sure you check out the short form content. I want to be a little bit more direct on those and giving you tips and everything else to kind of get through it. But yeah, does anyone else in here have any questions? Because I'm about to dip off. I really was just kind of coming on to really just give y'all a couple more information, a couple more updates. I'm probably also going to be making updates to the website very soon. So this might really change. So I definitely suggest getting a reading right now. I still have the slots available for the rest of March, but I'm definitely going to be making a few changes and adjustments on the back end just to make sure that everything is like moving forward and as easy as possible to make sure you find me, find the content, and I get y'all some really special content of things that I've been working on for years. So I want to be able to like directly get y'all that. Be like, hey, this is 5 years full professional experience of information. Here y'all go. Get it to y'all for the low and make sure that you really, really get to enjoy and learn and like learn your stars. Because, learning your stars and understanding what's going on in the present world and the world around you. Like it's one thing to have a bad day and it's another thing to have a bad day. Look at where the moon is doing. And then being like, oh, that's why this is going on, right? It's one thing to have a bad day and being like, wow, I feel so much pressure. And look at your own transit and you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense, right? That's something that ends up coming through. So like, thank y'all for your patience. But I really want to, I'm right here. Make sure that y'all end up connecting over on different social medias and such like that. I am going to head out. I appreciate you all for being here. Much love to you. And until next time.